Welcome to the Family Business Podcast. I'm Dr. Mary Wansley, and this is my son Dylan.
Hi, I'm Dylan Stever. It's a pleasure to be here.
It is episode 5.
Episode 5 it is.
Yeah.
Wow, I can't believe we've gotten this far. No, I can at the same time. You want to do a deep breath?
Yeah, let's take a deep breath.
All right. Let's do it.
Inhale through your nose deeply. Expand your chest and lungs. Exhale through your mouth. Release the breath, let it go. Deep breath in through your nose, fill your chest, your lungs. Open your heart. Long exhale through your mouth and let the breath go. Come into center, open your eyes.
Oh, I feel better. It's nice to have that deep breath. I'll say that every time, I think. Because it's just
always nice to have a deep breath.
Because I'm getting everything, figured out to start the podcast, that it's just wow. You can kind of just be in the moment for a second. Everything's going on so fast these days.
I learned something different the other day. I learned that doing hypnosis, there are a lot of different ways to do breathing in the beginning before you do an induction. But I was listening to someone else do hypnotherapy, and the way that she described taking a deep breath in, she said take a deep breath in through your heart.
Okay.
And then exhale through your heart.
Okay.
I liked that.
Through your heart as opposed to your lungs.
Yeah, as opposed to your lungs. Breathing life into your heart, opening and expanding your heart.
Right. Well, that's
opening
interesting.
Your heart to love.
It's interesting because, when I get anxious or I get my heart rate just increases because lots going on in my mind and it's I'm taking deep breaths, which is using my lungs, to calm down my heart. So it's interesting you say that. Not even just metaphorically, also for your spirit, your soul, your being, to calm that down and give yourself peace, right, and a peace of mind. But also just it's kind of a bit of a both. So I like that. I've never heard that before. Yeah, calm down your mind or your heart.
Yeah. Or breathe in through your heart.
Breathe in through your heart.
Because you are, when you do deep breathing, you're calming your heart rate, like you were talking about, your intention for doing deep breathing.
Right. Can you talk about that for a second? That you said that you do induction into doing hypnosis?
Well, yes. So when I begin hypnosis with someone...
Well, what is induction, first off?
An induction is taking someone into a calmer state. A calmer state, so then their subconscious mind is open and taking in new messaging.
Okay.
It's the beginning part of hypnosis.
Okay, so it's the part where you're where they, because do you do hypnosis with people with their eyes closed?
I have.
Or is that what they usually do?
I have everyone close their eyes.
So you have them close their eyes. So the moment they close their eyes, is that the start of induction, or is the induction before they close their eyes?
Getting into a comfortable place is the beginning. Okay, so that sort of tees the mind up for find a comfortable place to sit or lie down.
Right.
If I'm recording, that's what I say.
Okay.
If I'm recording a hypnosis audio for someone, if I am working with someone one-on-one, they get into a comfortable place and I say, close your eyes, bring some awareness to your eyelids, and let your eyelids feel heavier and heavier. I'll often begin like that, but I mix it up.
Okay. Interesting. Because I think people, they need a better idea, I guess, what the whole process of hypnosis is, because it's kind of even to me, I know what it is, but it's there's a step-by-step kind of process to be able to fully get the most benefits out of it, when you say that?
Sure.
You want to get into a good mind space, you want to give yourself, a block of time to actually just kind of give up, all of the control and kind of give it over to, would you call yourself a narrator? How do you call yourself?
I'm a hypnotherapist.
Yeah, but no, I mean, but what you're doing is you're creating a narrative in their mind as you speak.
Sure.
So you're kind of a narrator in that sense of
a visualization.
Visualization, yeah, exactly. You're walking them through a path, and you're trying to, when I've done not even hypnosis, but meditation, people walk you through meditation.
Sure.
So it's kind of the same thing. Mm-hmm. I mean, right?
It is. I don't know if you remember when you were little, you were probably 11 or 12. 13 maybe, and you couldn't fall asleep, and I would do a short hypnosis for you to fall asleep. Do you remember that?
I think so. I think so.
Uh-huh.
I think so.
I'd do it on the phone with you. Because I was living in California at the time, you were in Colorado, and I would do it on the phone. Sounds like it was really memorable.
Yeah.
You probably
I
just
wish I could remember. I have no idea though. I think so. I remember you doing it for Jack, for my friend. You did hypnosis
really
one time for my friend.
okay. I don't remember that, but I've done it for lots of friends.
Yeah, I remember you doing it for Jack, and you're like, you're gonna have, you walk them through like this mindset of success and like what it's like to have success and what you can accomplish. And I remember that, and I was like, that's very. I was like, I can't ever do that because I can't take you seriously when you do hypnosis when I'm going through it, because it's just like it's your parent. You're my parent, you know. So it's different. The relationship with someone doing hypnosis. Maybe it's just because I don't want to give over that power. You know, I still feel like I need that. You
So
know,
why do you think that that would be you giving over your power? That
I just don't want to be told what to do. I never have.
well,
And
why
I'm
would
definitely
you
not going to
think?
let you. And how I would be thinking about it from a different standpoint in the past would be based on I'm not gonna let her tap in my brain, like she's already done enough.
So why would you?
She's already got enough control over me. I'm not gonna give her anything subconscious too.
Well, perhaps that is a false belief that I would
Oh,
be
definitely, it
taking
probably
control.
is.
I'm
It
not
definitely
taking
is.
control,
No, I
and
know, but it's like it's kind of one of those things where it's just like most. I feel like a lot of kids, they're like, even if their dad's a math teacher and they got to do their math homework, it's like, Dad, stop. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to, most kids are just not really the way that they talk about it, the way that, a lot of kids are just like, stop. It's kind of where that comes from. It's like, I don't know. That's how I see it. And I think it's valid. I think there's a certain,
I think it's valid, but it's not you giving over control. It's you just imagine hydrating your subconscious mind with messaging that you really want, that moves you forward, that's helpful to you, and your mind will reject anything that is not helpful to you or you don't believe.
Yeah. That's true. I feel like I just feel like hypnosis in and of itself, it's a great thing, but because you're my mom and you do it, like I feel like I've never really it's kind of like a thing of I don't know, I feel like I'm too close to it in a way.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So I don't know, but I think that's so great, and I think for me I really like the guided meditation stuff. When people are doing, at the end of yoga or something, then they guide you through like a, you like I was talking about with the therapist I had, where she was like, your happy place, and like you're holding onto your chest, right, for comfort. And I think it's a great tool. I just don't know where it falls over me. Can we talk about you? Like, we want to talk about you. We want to talk about your
What do you
life. We
wanna
want to
talk
talk about like a bit of an introduction to who you are, what you do, where you come from, what's your goals, and kind of give a full timeline of everything, to kind of get an idea more about our introductions. I feel like it's time to, we've had a couple episodes talking about different ideas, different things that we believe in, and different, just different ideas. So at this point, I think it's really important that the audience and I as well get to hear new things and different things, So yeah, I think that'd be great.
I grew up in a small farming community in a very rural area of Northeast Georgia. I have one sister. I have lots of extended family. My grandparents were the epicenter of family life, and everything revolved around my grandparents. My father was in the automobile business and farm equipment business. And I have to say, I grew up with a whole lot of love. So much love that the world was not what I expected it to be when I left this small town of 500 people with I call it a bubble.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we spent the summers on the lake at my grandparents' lake home, and oh gosh, we just had lots of aunts and uncles and lots of
It's a
family.
great community.
Great community.
Yeah. Close knit community of
Very
people that
close
were
knit.
related, but also led to a lot of important memories.
Important
And I've been
memories.
fortunate to experience a little bit of that, kind of the older version of it.
It didn't prepare
Yeah.
me for the world, even though my parents took us places and we were very involved in University of Georgia football. We took trips. We did things. I kind of always wished I'd grown up in
A big city
a big
or
city and I had that exposure. But I thought that for a while,
yeah.
and now I don't. Now I'm very grateful for
Yeah.
how I grew up. It was a little bit of a bubble, but I'm very grateful. It didn't prepare me for the world. We had a very interesting exchange of currency.
Oh,
So
interesting. I haven't heard about this.
when we bought something in the small town that I lived in, we would go to the grocery store, the drugstore, the hardware store. There was a little clothing store, and we just signed my dad's name. When we got gas, my father had a gas station. He owned a business with his two brothers. We had a ledger that we wrote down how much gas we got and our name, or my dad's
It's
name.
an honor system. It's based off trust. It's based off of integrity.
Yes,
Right?
yeah. So they knew which family to bill it to, which
Right.
of the three brothers to bill
Right.
it to. So we had certain rules that okay, you have to write down your gas, and which we did, which nobody would think of not writing down how much gas they got. But it was not an actual exchange of currency. It was you just sign your name,
Right.
and you didn't take more than you needed because there was plenty.
Yeah. Interesting. And then, so you finished up high school and you knew that you wanted to go to college and you wanted to progress. Did you know what you wanted to do? Did you have any idea of
No,
what
I
you
had
wanted
no
to
idea
do?
what I wanted to do. My father said work for a utility company, become a nurse, or a school teacher, and none of those appealed to me. So I thought, well, why really bother
Right.
to work too hard in college? Because
Right.
none of those, I didn't want to be any of those. And so I only had those
That
ideas
line
of
of
what
thinking is crazy. I'm not going to work that hard in college because I'll just end up as a school teacher anyways.
I don't want to be a school teacher.
Right.
And I wasn't that good of a student. I was really a pretty terrible student.
Interesting.
Because I did not do so well. I did okay in high school, but I had some issues in high school.
With focusing.
Drinking and smoking pot.
Okay. So with focusing and with attendance.
No, I didn't have any attendance issues. I did not. I did attend, but
You just attended
my
high.
senior year, there were people who smoked a lot of pot, and I smoked pot.
How dare you?
I
Can't
know.
believe you.
I quit right after high school. Right after high
Really?
school, I did.
You never smoked after that?
Maybe a few times over the
Yeah.
years, but no, that was it. I said, no, this is not me.
Wow, that takes a lot of strength.
Well, because when I went off to school, my mother, I was going to go through Rush. I went to a small school in Georgia. I was going to go through Rush, and my mother dressed me in these clothes. I remember like this pink and white plaid blouse and a pink skirt and bright colors, preppy colors. And that just did not align with pot smoking. And I remember thinking, I'm going to wear all these pretty bright clothes and I'm going to put a joint up to my
Yeah.
mouth.
Color,
Somehow that
color
was just it.
identifiers. It's interesting.
Somehow that I just became someone different. So I became this sorority girl, which I really didn't like because there were a lot of rules.
Yeah. And you like smoking weed, so it's hard,
I
it's hard
quit.
to adjust everything. Yeah, but you're in your mind, you're like, you're not ready to change your entire lifestyle if that's, you found something else before it.
And I didn't do well. And then the second year I didn't do well. And then the third year I transferred to the University of Georgia. I have no idea why the University of Georgia took me because I was not a good student. I was not doing well. And I really not exactly sure what the issue was, but I had maybe it was focus. I had a hard time focusing. I had to take remedial courses. I don't know if that still even exists, but I had to take remedial classes.
Yeah, I took them.
You did?
Well, remedial is just like online courses. That's what they are now.
And halfway through what would have been my junior year with about barely the credits to be a freshman, I convinced my father to let me go to school in Colorado. I just wanted to escape. I just wanted to get away.
So you
And
had no idea what you wanted to do for a career
no,
at
I
that
had
point,
no idea.
and did you have any idea that you would pursue something that was like an education?
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely not.
you're like, this is
No,
not,
no,
or
no,
especially getting your doctorate.
no.
Yeah,
So I convinced my father to let me go to school in Colorado.
and then what school did you attend in Colorado?
Well, I
You ended up not going to school.
well, I went to went to school and I was I was going to go to the University of Northern Colorado in Greeley because I began working
Oh my
on
God. For
convincing him.
anyone that doesn't know what Greeley is, type in Greeley on a Google search. The town smells like cow manure.
Okay,
Just letting you
so
know, I've been there once and will not go back.
okay,
So that's
I
that's the situation. Just
okay. The
context.
situation was that I had never been to Colorado, but we had this little ski area called Sky Valley in Georgia, Northeast Georgia. And I found this pin on the ground and it said Colorado. And I thought, this is a sign from God that I'm supposed to go to Colorado. And then I began trying to talk my father into letting me go to school in Colorado.
Wow, that's so powerful.
So,
Wow.
so classes in Boulder started where the University of Colorado is started in August. Another school I looked at started in August, but the school in Greeley started in September. It was a quarter system, not a semester system. And I applied and I got accepted. And by the time Labor Day was over, I'd convinced him to let me go. So I drove to Colorado. I fibbed. I said somebody was driving with me. I drove myself to Colorado.
That's awesome.
Yeah, by
That's
myself.
awesome.
And I got to Greeley, Colorado, and I went, oh no, just like you said, this town smells like cow manure.
Yeah.
I looked around and I thought, oh, this is not what I expected. This is not what I planned on.
No, it's not.
And so I spent one night, and I thought, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I can't stay here. And I went into this gas station, and I had a map, and I asked this woman, I said, on this map, can you tell me if you could live anywhere,
Wow.
where would you go on this map to live? And she pointed, and I remember her fingernails were very dirty. And I remember thinking, I'm taking advice from someone who not only
Not
hasn't
even
had a
well kept.
manicure, but
Yeah.
doesn't really. She pointed to Glenwood Springs. So I said, okay. And I got back in the car and I drove to Glenwood Springs.
Wow.
Then I checked into a hotel in Glenwood Springs. So am I 19 or 20? Something like that. Because back then I went off to college when I was 17. I checked into a hotel. I looked in the newspaper. I found a room for rent. Their only school there was a school called Colorado Mountain College, which was a 2-year program.
Associates. Yeah.
Associates, yeah. So I signed up for some classes there, and I think I got a part-time job as a concierge at a spa for a few hours a week. And so I made friends. In fact, I made a wonderful friend that we're still friends today. And then Christmas time, my cousin and my mom and dad and sister came out and for Christmas. And my father was having breakfast in a restaurant. And after breakfast, he came up to me and he said, so I was talking to the waitress in the restaurant, and she said the school here is only a 2-year college. And you've already been in college for 3 years. What's going on? And I said, well, Daddy, the first school that I went to didn't really work out so well. I didn't really like it. And so I came here. And he said, you can stay until the end of the ski season, because then I'd gotten into skiing. And there was a little ski area in Glenwood Springs, but I went to Aspen. I went to Aspen a lot. And my father said, well, you can stay till the end of the ski season, and then you need to come back to Georgia. Went back to Georgia. Still didn't know what I wanted to do. Got a real estate license.
Wow.
Started work with Coldwell Banker. And all I could think of that I wanted to do was move to Aspen. I'd been exposed to it. I thought it was great. That's all I could think of. So a couple years go by, and finally my father acquiesced, and I moved to Aspen.
Wow. And then at that point, you didn't have a college degree.
I didn't have a college degree.
Yeah.
I met someone, a man, who was just so generous and so kind and
In
different.
Aspen.
Met him in Aspen.
Mm-hmm.
I won't tell you yet how I met him.
Yeah.
Maybe I should tell you how I met him.
No, it's fine. We'll just continue with more like near your education stuff. So you lived in Aspen for a while, sold cars.
No, I didn't sell cars at this point. I met this man after I'd been living there for about a year. No, I met him after 6 months, actually. And we got married.
Oh, okay.
So we were married for 3 years. And then I moved back to Aspen. It wasn't until I got a job in sales at a retail store, and then became the buyer and the manager. And then my father started sending me automobiles.
Oh, you were well into your 30s by then.
I was probably 30.
So you never had well into your 30s.
Well into my 30s. It makes me sound
So you
old.
never had finished college at that point.
Still had not finished college, and it really bothered me.
Really?
It did bother me.
What was it because of an expectation that your parents had, or that was part of your family, or was it because of just a personal expectation of like, or you saw other people? Like, where did it come from? This idea that I haven't finished school, I need to finish school. It'd be nice if I finished school. How do I?
I had
finish
5
school?
aunts. My mother's sister, she had an undergraduate degree and a master's. All 4 of my aunts on my father's side had degrees.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yes, my father and his brother Alan, they both had degrees, and so
The other ones, Jack didn't have an education.
I don't know about
Okay, yeah,
my father's
continue.
oldest
Yeah. Or just the other brothers didn't.
brother, and I don't know about the youngest.
Okay.
Yeah.
Continue,
So, but
sorry.
it was really important.
Yeah.
It was very important in my family that you go to college. And I didn't feel very good about it. And I had 15 first cousins, 15, 16, 17 first cousins, and most of them had college degrees by this time. My sister had graduated from college, so it bothered me that I hadn't gone to finish college.
Did you feel like you're behind, in that sense of not having a degree, like you're behind the ball, like, or did you just feel like you just didn't have it?
For a while, I felt like it was just something that I didn't really want to do or need to do, or I think the biggest thing was there was nothing I really wanted to study. I could not think of anything I really wanted to study. And
Yeah.
so I got a job and became a manager of a couple of retail stores. And I would take classes there was a local college in Aspen, Colorado Mountain College. I would take classes in things that I wanted to study. And then I went into the automobile business, and I traveled to Denver every week to work automobile auctions. And I had this idea that I wanted to study communication, understanding the way people communicate, and
Especially in business relations.
business
But the
relations.
business relations that you were dealing with was kind of a stem from, or it was kind of a seed that was planted, because that's communicating. When you're trying to sell and buy a car, you're communicating. So like, but
That wasn't it,
that's
though.
not because. No, I'm not saying business communication is what you wanted to focus in, but it's because of doing.
No,
Okay.
it's not.
Interesting.
I had a struggle. I'd had a struggle with emotional eating and binge eating. Mm-hmm. So that went on during my 20s. So
And you
that,
struggle with nicotine.
yeah,
Yeah.
I wouldn't really call that a struggle, but I guess I was hooked on
Well, I'm
cigarettes.
just saying it's an addiction.
It was, but
And you had some, and then you got sober too.
I quit drinking.
Quit drinking.
One of the reasons I quit drinking was because I had emotional eating issues, and alcohol seemed to be a gateway to.
Overeating.
Yeah, to overeating.
Binging, yeah.
I'd gone to treatment for binge eating. I'd done all these. I'd done so much to deal with my underlying issues of why I turned to food, lost weight, started to feel good about myself, went into business, and I was in Denver every week, and I had this idea that I had gone through so much. I'd gone through so much with not finishing school, And one of the reasons that I didn't finish school actually had to do with my binge eating problem.
Wow. Okay.
I was so focused at the time on weight loss, even and then later my goal was to solve my eating problem.
Okay.
And that's when I got better. So I look at my 20s as like I lost a decade. All
But I
was
mean,
not
you got a lot of
lost,
life
but
experience.
I got a lot of life experience. So when I went back to college, I wanted to study communication because I thought communication is just everything.
Yeah.
It affects how we
Yeah.
feel. It affects how we make other people feel, how we impact others. And I thought I could really have an impact on, at the time I was thinking young women.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew I had a message, but I wasn't really sure what that message was. And I found communication to be a fascinating field of study the more that I read about it. And one day I just decided I was going to go back to school. And the next day I went to the University of Colorado in Denver and signed up for classes. And I started. And in about less than 2 years, I finished my undergrad
In communication.
in communication,
Okay, I see.
in mass communication.
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved the field of study. But I finally had landed on something that I really wanted to study, that I was
And
passionate
how old
about.
were you?
I was 32 when I finished.
32 when you finished. Mm-hmm. And that what year was that? 95?
That would have been 95.
Yeah. Yeah, 94, 95. Okay, very nice. And then after 95,
My business continued.
so you were doing classes and doing.
So I would go to
Selling
Denver on a
cars,
Monday. I would take 5 classes. I'd be back in Aspen on Thursday. And I worked auctions. I worked 2 to 3 auctions a week. And then I had a limo service for a while. And I had a lot of
You
fun.
owned a limo?
What I had,
Oh,
I owned the cars. I took Suburbans and I
see, I
had
see.
other people drive them, and
From Denver to Aspen.
they drove wherever people
Yeah.
needed. Yeah. So I'd buy them at the
Well,
beginning of a
that's crazy
season,
that
and
you
then I'd
had-
sell them at the end of the season.
It's crazy you had all these businesses going on and you had this capital you were dealing with. And
When you say I have this capital I'm dealing with,
well, you had enough money and a business to be able to buy and sell Suburbans. Maybe you had a loan, whatever it was.
oh, I got very creative.
But you had all that stuff and you still felt the urge to get an education.
I did, and
That's very interesting.
I remember thinking, I'm going to look back on this time in life and wonder how I did it all. But I was very social. I dated. There were the parties in Aspen then were so much fun, and I really didn't miss a social event.
Wow.
I was really enjoying
You're
my
pushing
life.
it, yeah. Mm-hmm. Pushing it to the max.
I never stayed out late. I was really did a good job of managing my time. I had to because I was selling, I was promoting myself. I ran ads for automobiles, and I was going to school. I remember I had a driver who would drive me to Denver on Mondays when I would go down, and I would work. So I would handwrite my papers back then, and we would stop in Glenwood, and I would fax them to this man who would then type them, because I wasn't very good at typing, and this was kind of pre-computers. I had a computer, and so I'd write for a while in Aspen, and then we'd stop at this place, and I'd fax what I had down to this man who would type it up, and then I would stop again in Vail after I'd written some more and fax it, and by the time I got to Denver, the paper would be ready for me to go, to take to school.
That's ridiculous.
And then I had a driver, and he would wait for me until I got out of school. And then I did different things. I stayed at different hotels. Sometimes I had a rental in Denver.
Wow. Okay, so then continuing from there, then you got married, had a kid, gave birth, had a kid.
Then I wanted to move to New York, and I went to New York, and I looked for jobs. This was in 1996. I went for about 3 months, and I ran my car business from the phone, and nobody would pay me as much money as I thought that I was worth or that I could make on
In New
my
York?
own. And so I went back. I went
Yeah.
I went back to Aspen, and then someone set me up on a blind date with your father. Before someone set me up on a blind date with your father, I thought I was going to move to Los Angeles.
I see. I see.
Okay, I was going to go into equipment leasing, and I was going to move to LA, and then I met your dad, and I just said, you know what? Maybe I'm not going to move to LA. I'm going to see how this works out.
So then you met him, had a kid, got married, had a kid, and then at the same time you just had a kid, and you're like, I want to go back to school.
No. So after your dad and I got married, he retired, which I didn't think it was the greatest idea, but he said he was repositioning. And he wanted to move to Vail. I didn't really want to move to Vail. I really thought
He wanted
wasn't
he
that
wanted to
interesting.
retire, and you still had goals.
Right. I still had
You
goals.
still had ideas in your mind and what you could accomplish.
So I was working on my master's.
And for
We
full
got married.
transparency, there's like a 12-year age difference between you. So
12-year age
yeah,
difference.
so that's like kind of why that you had a different prerogative than he did.
I was 34. He was 47. He was 47 when he retired. I started my master's. We got married in the fall of '98. I started my master's in January of 1999. Finished in '01
Okay.
with the goal of getting a PhD, which he didn't think was the greatest idea.
Mm-hmm.
During that time, we had you.
Mm-hmm. But so you went. So then you said, okay, I'm gonna go get an education, just for education standpoint. Then you went back to school in the early 2000s.
Went back to school in 1999.
Got into the PhD program, master's program.
Got into the PhD program in 2002 and started my doctorate in the fall of '02.
Okay.
Finished in the spring
and then
of
how long did
07.
it take? Yeah, 07. So it took 5 years.
It took 5 years. I thought it was going to take 3. It took 5.
What do you think it took 5 instead of 3? Why do you think? Why did it?
Why did it take
Yeah.
5? It took me longer to do my dissertation than I had anticipated.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
The process of having to propose your dissertation topic, to have an advisor, a committee, defend your dissertation, it was a long process.
Yeah.
I loved it though. It was a lot of fun, and I taught while I was at the University of Denver.
Mm-hmm. And then after that, I remember this is about when I was probably, I guess, after you got your PhD, but you did some teaching at Metro. You tried to
I
find
taught
some teaching.
some during at
Yeah.
University of Denver, and then I taught at
Yeah.
Metro.
Yeah, and so you tried to find some stuff, but then you didn't know what you wanted to do exactly with your PhD.
I didn't know what I wanted to do exactly, but I knew that I needed a skill set to complement my PhD. So I found the best professional development school for coaching and went to coaching school.
Yeah. Okay. And then you went to coaching school. Where was that? In Colorado?
I went to coaching school. So at that particular time, I had to go to New York. So I went to New York every 3 weeks to 3 months for a long weekend.
Okay. So you go to coaching school, you have your PhD, you go to coaching school, and then there's a certain point where you decided to move to California, and for me to live with my dad, which looking back made sense, for me to at least live with my dad. And then the idea was that you had some idea to go to California and try to make it work there, see what the opportunities are there. And so you went to California, and did you have a job when you moved to California?
I had no job when I moved to California.
Okay.
You want me to back up and say why I moved to California?
Yeah, I mean, speaking education and business-wise, yeah.
Education and business-wise, I thought that California had a lot more opportunities. People were more open-minded, and I had this
Yeah.
feeling that I wanted to live in Los Angeles, and I'd had it for a long time.
Right.
And
Because you lived in the mountains, seen that, done that. Maybe
I didn't
tried
want to
the
live in
beach or
Denver
something,
anymore.
yeah.
I'd gone through a
And
difficult
California's not
breakup.
humid like it is in Florida or in Georgia, like on the beaches.
Well, that wasn't a factor.
But I'm just saying it's a different type of lifestyle being near in Los Angeles.
I was healing from a difficult relationship breakup.
Yeah.
I needed your dad more to step in and be a
Okay.
part of your
Okay.
life. And you went to live with your dad. And I was teaching online for the University of Denver for the business communication department, their graduate school. And I thought, gosh, I can live anywhere right now because I'm teaching online.
Mm-hmm.
And once you moved in with your father, I thought to myself, I can try living in California. I can try living in Los Angeles. So I moved to Santa Monica thinking, I'll see what it's like for 6 months. And I commuted back once a month to be
Yeah,
with
yeah.
you. Okay.
But so then you found the Hungry Heart, or the Hungry Heart found you, or weren't you gonna do something with moms and their daughters? Wasn't there something that you were doing there?
Maybe that was one of my ideas.
Yeah, it's
Well,
like
that didn't pan out.
helping. What was the business, or what was the idea? Not the business, but what was the idea? Basically, help the inner relationship between moms and daughters as they go through teenage years.
Good memory. I think that was
Yeah,
one of my ideas.
yeah.
Well, I was still teaching online, but I needed to make more money. And so I started giving talks at sorority houses and talking about emotional eating issues because I saw
Ah,
it happening with
before you even worked for the Hungry Heart.
before I worked for the Hungry
Wow,
Heart.
I didn't know that.
I did. So I
Wow.
thought my best idea is to go to my sorority at the UCLA. And so I started from my sorority, and then uh, other sororities booked me to give a talk. So I started
Mm-hmm.
giving talks on how to recover from emotional eating and binge eating.
Right.
And then I saw an ad for a company called The Hungry Heart that had a program to help people recover from emotional eating. I applied for the job, I got the job, and along with that, I was required to become a clinical hypnotherapist. So then I went back to school to become a clinical hypnotherapist, worked for the Hungry Heart for a year, became a coach for other counselors, teaching other counselors how to hone their skills and move people into what we then called support after the 8 session program.
Mm-hmm.
And within about a year and a half, my boss, she had 9 offices, she was ready to go into a completely different business.
Mm-hmm.
And so I opened an office in Westwood and across from UCLA. Still had I was in Manhattan Beach at the time. For a while, I saw clients in Manhattan Beach and opened the new office in Westwood, and went into private practice for myself.
Yeah.
And I rewrote the program. The Hungry Heart program had some great foundational principles, and I expounded upon that. And I've done about 3 rewrites to the program over the years.
Yeah. So then you kind of, that was your business. So you did that business up until COVID. And then COVID is when you switched your market. Not necessarily, but you moved to Texas right around
I
before
moved to
COVID. Right
Dallas before COVID.
before COVID even happened. So you didn't know COVID was going to happen or anything, um, but it ended up being somewhat of a, not the worst decision. As you kind of just got out of everything that was going on in California, and
Right.
you were in Texas, which was a bit more laid back, but you could also kind of shift your market. You could expand upon your market into the Dallas Fort Worth area.
I knew that that would be a safe move because the Dallas Fort Worth market with 7 million people would draw.
Yeah.
And I went back to California. I traveled from Dallas to LA for about 3 months into my living in Dallas. I mean, yeah, in living in Dallas, and opened my office in Dallas. And the marketing was dead right on. I was busy from the beginning, and still worked with clients in LA, and then transitioned everybody to working remotely.
Yeah.
So it was great. That was a wonderful time. I loved working in Dallas, living there.
So you did that, and since then you've just been consistent working on working what you're doing, hypnotherapy, coaching, tons of things like that.
I've expanded upon that because
Right.
I do hypnotherapy for other problems,
For other
and then
problems,
sometimes
yeah.
people just come to me because they want the combination of counseling and hypnotherapy.
Right.
And I do longer sessions, and I'm different than a traditional therapist.
Right. And then now we're in a world where Ozempic was first approved in 2017, but was given full FDA approval in 2021, I believe. And so since then, Ozempic is really taking storm, and people have gotten a lot more comfortable with talking about it. Before it was kind of a taboo. Now it's accepted. I have family members that have used it. I have friends that are using it. You probably, there's 1 in 8 Americans today are using Ozempic or using Wegovy or GLP-1. So there's a lot more, cultural consensus around it being an okay thing that actually can lead
Yes.
to weight loss, which has affected your business in ways that, you could expect. People don't necessarily are seeking out weight loss, alternative weight loss methods than to dieting. And so it's turned into a thing of people searching for Wegovy, searching for Ozempic, searching for these alternatives instead of just help for the longevity of their weight loss path. And so that's affected the business somewhat. But also now there's a post Ozempic program that we're developing that also goes into along with what your business is, what you've done clients through you've put clients through the GLP-1 program and given them tools now that they're transitioning off. They've lost the weight, but they want to keep the weight off. And so that's a new addition to your program that you hadn't had in the past couple of years that we're now expounding upon, as you said.
Yes, and as you say that we're expounding upon it, the program's developed. I've taken a number of clients already through the
So what is the program exactly?
The transition program. Yeah. The transition program is helping people understand why they turn to food in the first place, learning to regulate their hunger and fullness, and deal with emotions separately. So separating emotions from how someone is eating and changing thought patterns and beliefs and having a stable mindset around eating, a different mindset than they had, which caused them to gain the weight in the first place.
Right. Whereas like when you tend to overeat or you're binge eating, there's a lot of ups and downs that occur with the mindset that take over your mind. It's like you feel good when you're eating, but then once you feel like you've overate, then you feel bad about yourself.
You feel guilty, you feel ashamed.
Feel the shame, exactly. And so it's kind of, creating a balance in it all. Creating a bit of a mental space where it's like okay to mess up, but you're in a path to move forward. And that's kind of what, what's very important, and also give you some peace of mind within all the struggles that you have with eating, right? So a lot of people feel that the GLP-1 is now, especially now with the GLP-1s, that they've kind of given that, I'm losing weight, I can just live normally, but they haven't acquired any tools along that path. So it's important to now look at the tools that you might need to be able to keep the weight off now that you've lost some, which is great. It's great you've lost weight. Everyone wants you to be healthier and happier that you can seek out, but it's what the tools you have are continuing from there.
Yes, and there are people that the drugs work for, they're effective, and that don't have significant side effects. Mm-hmm. And then there are other people who
That's true.
don't lose weight on the medication and maybe do have side effects. And it's really important to reach people who have side effects and who not only can't tolerate the medication, but maybe it's not as effective, that there is a solution to overcome emotional eating, binge eating, dysregulated or disordered eating, so someone can lose weight, to not give up hope that there is.
Hope, yeah. Because
I have to say, when the medication was first approved, I was not a fan. And I had a number of clients on it, and I was not a fan because I can give
like
someone...
it's an easy out in a lot of ways
I could give someone the tools to change their relationship with eating and food, and then they'd lose weight naturally.
Right. Yeah, for the investment that they're making in towards Ozempic, if they put that same amount of money, which is much less than the constant Ozempic prices every month, they were going to get tools for the longevity of their life.
Right. Versus
a short fix now. There's a reason which got you into to a space where you feel like you're overeating, you're binging, and to be able to get out of that, it's going to take more than just taking a pill or taking a shot.
It is, and there's a rebound effect after going off the medication.
Right, of course, like getting off of anything. It's Explain the rebound. I'm curious.
Well, when someone's hunger returns, when they're no longer on the medication, their hunger returns. They're just not really prepared to deal with the hunger.
Yeah.
And then the
hunger
food
coming
noise in the
back, yeah.
brain comes back, and then feeling the fear of, oh no, I've lost this weight and I don't want to regain it. What am I going to do? But then there's this hunger that they're not accustomed to dealing with because it's masked by the medication, and having the right tools is vital.
Because what will you say when once that food noise comes back? What is the like the next steps that follow? Because the food noise is now coming back. Now I want to resort to the way you're eating before, because you're gonna eat more than you probably were on the medication, correct?
Correct.
So then when you eat more and it doesn't have the stopping of the of your appetite, what happens? Then you're gonna be eating more, so you're putting more calories in your body, and you're gonna end up putting more weight back on.
It's very important to learn to identify hunger and fullness and have a way to think about eating that's different than they had before.
Is there a way to carry over the hunger and fullness triggers that were created by the medication that can now be implemented or can be recognized after they get off the medication? I'm curious about that. And
So you're saying, is there a way to carry over?
Yeah, because what Ozempic is doing is it's telling your body that it doesn't need to eat, right? So in understanding the fullness and the triggers that come along with eating, to be able to kind of identify them then, because you kind of have a skewed understanding of what the triggers really are.
Right, because it does calm the mind.
Right.
So understanding triggers is very important. Life triggers, small things that trigger us during the day, very
And even
important
the
to
fullness,
understand triggers.
even the fullness signal, like being able to carry over and have a relationship with your fullness signal. I find even now, for me, I'm having a lot more. I'm having a lot more. I guess it's like an ability to tell when you're full. Like I feel like I've never really explored the fullness signal in my brain. And I feel like now it's like when I just feel like I just can't eat, like I just listen to it. But it's easy to push past that when you're just eating anything you want. Like I'm eating very clean right now. And so I think when you're eating very clean, it's like if I don't want to eat this, it's because I shouldn't be eating this. I don't need to keep eating. But I'm curious what being able to develop the fullness signal. What tools?
Mean being able to be aware of your
Yes,
fullness
because
signal?
it's not easy at all. It's very, I think for more people than not, even people that are not overweight, or that the fullness signal is completely lost to our brain.
Oh, do you know why that is?
Why?
Because when we've consistently eaten past the point of feeling full, we become accustomed to the feeling.
Okay.
Even though we might not like the weight gain from it, we might feel uncomfortable. We might feel like, why did I do that? I shouldn't have eaten that.
Accepting the feeling that we're full. Because like when you eat a full meal on Thanksgiving and you get really full, that's kind of like, that's like, this is the max fullness I can get to, And it's like, from there, there's like the steps of like getting fuller and fuller and fuller. Like when is that point that you're actually full and you don't need any more at this moment?
Think about it like this. As infants, we come into the world, we have a bottle or nurse, and then we stop the second we're full. And feed a toddler in a high chair, and they'll tell you when they're full. They don't even care if the food gets all over them. Children eat when they're hungry, and they stop when they're full. So we have it all built in. But when we learn that, or we're told to clean our plates, we're not told to recognize fullness and stop, or the food tastes so good, so we keep eating. And then that creates a dysregulation, which can lead to a disorder when it tastes so good.
Right.
But
and you don't want to waste it. And it's so good. It tastes so good. Oh, man, it's tough. It's really difficult because you're sitting here and you have this amazing food and you're like, I don't want to waste it. You can always eat it the next day, but it's not going to be as good. You have all these justifications you make in your mind of why you should finish it.
But it's a waste to ingest more food than your body can process through at any given time. That's a waste.
Your body can't process it all.
No. The crowding of your organs, the inflammation, the bloated feeling. It's a terrible feeling.
Yeah.
So imagine in that moment, if you recognize physical fullness or you practice recognizing physical fullness and you associate that with a negative feeling like, I don't want to feel too full. I don't want to feel bloated. I don't want to regret how much I've eaten.
Right.
In that moment, then you learn to stop. Now, I do have clients at times who tell me they cannot recognize physical fullness, that they're just not able to do it. So I have a different way of helping them with a stopping point.
Okay. Interesting. Huh.
Learning to recognize hunger, because most people can recognize hunger, and identifying when there's no more hunger.
Yeah, I feel like I really want to keep exploring this stuff because even for myself, it's like I feel like I'm really exploring these things. After fasting for so long, like I knew the moment I would be eating is because I haven't had anything to eat all day. I'm definitely hungry, right? But going back to a situation where I'm eating, consistent meals throughout the day, being able to tell what's the identifier, am I hungry, or and then like how much do I need to eat to be able to satisfy that hunger and not overeat. And it's like there's not a lot of tools, even though I'm trying to get fit and I'm working out. There's still a lot of ways that you have to listen to yourself, and you have to create a relationship with eating in a way that is new. It's a new journey for me, it feels like, in
All
a lot
right,
of
so
ways.
think about it like this. Your mind might have ideas about wanting to eat more. Your
Right.
mouth, you might have cravings. So cravings are in the mouth, urges are in the mind, but your body will tell you the truth 110% of the time. Your body will tell you when you are physically full.
Hmm.
We're a culture of not listening to our bodies and our fullness signal. We were born with this.
What does it take? I mean, it's like a $1 million question. What does it take to be able to listen to our bodies?
Slow down, put your fork down between bites, shift your posture, breathe, pause,
Pause. Put your fork down.
eat your food slowly, chew your food thoroughly, and notice when the hunger signal begins to kick in. One of the
Yeah,
exercises I
it's
give
true.
clients is to eat blindfolded. Have somebody else serve your plate and eat blindfolded. And
How are you gonna be able to see?
you know what? Blind people can actually eat. If you know there's food there and you have a fork, you'd be surprised. Okay, I challenge you to try it. I want you to. I'm going to serve a meal to you, and I want you to eat blindfolded, and let's see
Huh.
if you can bring more awareness
I'm sure you
to
can.
your
I'm sure you
physical
can.
fullness.
Yeah, now that I think about it, it's like because you're listening to your mind, you're not listening to your eyes. Your eyes can be deceiving.
Right?
Wow, that's
Yeah.
powerful stuff.
Your brain can say, "Oh, just one more bite. It won't really matter." Your mouth can say, "Oh, it tastes so good."
But your mind is what can tell. Your mind's listening to your stomach.
Your mind can tell, and if the more you practice it, the more you're aware that food tastes different past the point of fullness, and this has to do with digestive
Ah,
enzymes.
wow. It doesn't taste as good. What is it? It's like the next bite is not as good. There's a diminishing return on each bite.
The
I've
next
noticed that
bite's
when I
not
eat
as
like
good.
really good pizza, and I'm like, the first bite is amazing, and then I'm like, three pieces in, and I'm like, this isn't even that good.
Well, what's happening is you keep thinking, "I want that initial delicious taste," and the next bites
Yeah,
aren't as good.
it's true.
That happens with people who drink. They like the way that it feels. They like the
Right.
dopamine hit in the brain with the first drink, and then the next drink is just to try to feel that good feeling they felt, and, it's never so good, but maybe they'll have a 3rd drink.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. Can we, before we end this podcast, I want to talk a little bit about your food issues and your recovery and what all went on with that because I don't even know myself exactly like the time frame of everything, and yeah, I'm curious if you could detail us a bit of that.
Sure. I didn't have any eating and food issues growing up, and when I went off to college, my
Wait,
first year.
before you did you eat relatively healthy? Why do you attribute your like eating issues to being absent when you're young?
We didn't really think about, am I eating really healthy?
Were you told to eat everything on your plate?
No,
Interesting. Okay. Interesting, because that's not that's not the case for many people.
it's not the case for many
I
people.
think most people in general, they tell they tell their family members to eat everything on their plate.
That's true.
They tell your kids, and you're surprised when somebody wastes food. When somebody wastes food, oh, you didn't like it? You know, if
No,
it's good, you eat it all.
my mother was a
That's
very mediocre cook, and we
well,
just
that
ate as
helps.
much as we could.
Oh my god.
My grandmother was both my grandmothers were
So did you eat all the
fantastic
food on
cooks.
your plate when you were with your grandmothers?
I don't recall eating and getting too stuffed. I just recall eating and being finished. There were so many of us. It would be impossible to like, oh, make sure she finishes, make sure he
Yeah,
finishes. No,
yeah.
there were too many of us. You ate
Either
your
eat or
food
you
and you
didn't.
moved on.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
That's
It just
interesting.
wasn't a big thing.
It's interesting. Okay, so continue. So then, where did your first sign of feeling like you had an issue with your food, with
I
eating
went
food?
off to college, and the first summer after college, I remember thinking, my bathing suit's too tight, my shorts are too tight. And I had a neighbor who gave me a diet book, and it was called the Scarsdale Medical Diet. And she gave me this book, and I followed this 2-week diet to a T. And I must have gained about 10 pounds over the course of my freshman year, and I lost the weight and then some. It got linked into my belief system. I can eat anything I want now because I can always go on this diet to lose weight. And then I started to overeat, and that led to occasional binging and then going back on a diet and depriving myself. Well, then the cycle took hold. So
Mm-hmm.
throughout my whole sophomore year, the cycle took hold, and I was trying to diet, and at times I was overeating, and then the binging got worse.
Yeah.
And part of my reason for wanting to move to Colorado was because the binging had gotten worse and worse, and the diets were less effective. I didn't have as much willpower and motivation and able to be self-disciplined enough to stay on them. And I was getting heavier and heavier. And I believe that if I moved to a more healthy environment with lots of outdoor activities, that I would lose
Right.
weight. So
Right.
that was my real motivating
There's going
factor.
to be a correlation along with a healthier lifestyle, then you would be healthier altogether. Okay.
So that's what I thought that the move would do for me is I could finally lose weight.
Wow.
And at this point I'd gained 30 or 40 pounds
Yeah.
by my 3rd year of college. But the
Well,
problem didn't end there.
yeah. I want to. Yeah. Let's leave it on that. I
Okay. The
like the problem
problem
didn't
didn't
end
end
there.
there.
Let's leave it on that, because I think I've never heard that before. That story. I think that's great,
Mhm.
and I think it's great for our listeners and for me. Frankly, I mean, um, to hear your story with your issues with eating, and to hear kind of your path, and to know that there is a way to find a better life for yourself, a life that you've been dreaming about, a life that you think that you had in the past, and a life that you want for yourself is possible. But it takes time, it takes dedication, and it takes listening to your body and listening to your mind. And what's important is, making the effort. As long as you make the effort and you try, you're going to be further than you were before. And
I
so let's
agree.
leave it on that. Let's leave it on there. Thank you for joining us for episode 5 of Family Business. It was great to have you. We'll see you guys soon. Thank you.
Thank you.